What is up, guys? Matt Parrino, NewYorkUpstate.com, coming to you from my lovely dorm room at St. John Fisher College in Rochester, New York. Halfway point of Bills camp. We're past it. Today was day 10. Real fun day, hot couple days here in Pittsburgh. QB battle is definitely heating up quite a bit. Thought I would jump on here. Let me get this up on here real quick. Thought I'd jump on Facebook Live, catch you up on all things going on at Bills camp. I mean, we got a lot to talk about. I mean, big trade yesterday. Coleman is now a Buffalo Bill, a guy that, you know, Bills fans have probably heard of this name. I mean, this is a guy that has, you know, come up quite a bit over the course of the past couple weeks, heading into training camp with wide receiver being a position of need for the Bills. Coleman is a guy out there, hasn't quite lived up to his potential in Cleveland, former first-round pick, who Brandon Beane was able to get for a seventh-round pick in 2020, which is a pretty good deal for the Bills. Joanna Wing, hello, how are you? Thank you for joining us. Yeah, so real quick, I'm going to run down a few things I want to talk about. Obviously, we're 2 days away from the first preseason game against the Carolina Panthers for the Bills, and the quarterback competition is heating up. Nathan Peterman ran with the first team. If you haven't been keeping up to daily with the training camp updates, it's been Nathan Peterman, AJ McCarron going back and forth in terms of first team reps. Nathan Peterman had perhaps his best practice of all of training camp today. He was really good. He was making his throws. He was decisive in the pocket with his decision making, getting the ball out, making a couple big plays. Had a connection with Calvin Benjamin in one 11-on-11 drill that capped off a 6-for-6 session there. He's been really good. I was able to speak with Nathan Peterman after practice today. We had a little one-on-one, and we talked about the adjustments to Brian Daboll's offensive scheme, and he said it's been fun, and he said that's important because football is supposed to be fun. But he emphasized the fact that with this new creative system under Daboll, he's able to utilize a lot of these a lot of his weapons in a bunch of different ways in the offense, and he's excited about it. AJ McCarron, another day where he was not so good. He's kind of been hit or miss over the course of camp. Peterman's had his down days. Josh Allen's had his down days as well. But I feel like AJ McCarron's been the most inconsistent. He's struggled the most. Struggling to get the ball out of his hands in the pocket. Going through his reads, it looks like he panics a bit when he gets into trouble, and we saw a little bit more of that today. 3 sacks that I saw throughout the course of practice, going to different ends of the field. And in terms of Josh Allen, Josh Allen's had a pretty great camp, considering the fact that he's a rookie, a guy that's come in here learning an NFL system for the first time, coming from Wyoming. And the big chatter on the sidelines today amongst the media was really just the throwing power of Josh Allen. I mean, this guy has such a cannon. I mean, to see it up close, you really can see the ball. He flings the ball. You know what I mean? And he made a few plays today. Got a couple guys dropped. Dropped a couple balls from Josh Allen, sparking the debate among some people on the sidelines is, does he have to take a little bit off the ball? I think that's, you limit him in that scenario, because one of the things that makes Josh Allen so great is his arm strength, right? And he's making plays and putting the ball through small windows that a lot of quarterbacks aren't able to do. Joanna said, gonna watch the game Thursday, can't wait. I can't wait either. I'm very excited for this game. I'm very excited to see, after weeks and weeks and weeks here of 2 weeks. I mean, it feels longer, but seeing these guys in practice every day has been great. But to see kind of this stuff transfer to a game environment, start to see the quarterbacks with a consistent pass rush, going to be able to be hit a bit, what they're able to do. In terms of the trade, I think it's you know, it's like I said, it's great for the Bills. They bring in Corey Coleman, a guy with a lot of speed, a lot of potential, had some injury problems in the past, but you bring a guy into a mix where, let's be honest, I mean, the more, you know, talented guys that, you know, with potential that you could throw in the mix at receiver, the better off, you know, for the team. After Calvin Benjamin, veteran kind of journeyman Jeremy Curley, there's a ton of question marks, you know, on this defensive, or in this wide receiver group. One thing I wanted to do, let me grab my little sheet. I don't know where I put it. I don't need it. The wide receiver group has been interesting. I want to, you know, go down the list for you guys and just give you my impressions of all these guys, because that's a position that, you know, this battle with the receivers when the preseason game starts is going to be something you're going to want to keep an eye on. The Bills released Quan Bray yesterday to make room for Corey Coleman. Other than that, Malachi Dupree, a guy that I was talking about this today, a guy that, like, a lot of, you know, season previews at the position really, you know, flagged him as a potential breakout candidate. Hasn't really. Nick Thrain, are you in a jail cell? No, I'm in a dorm room. And they put us up here at St. John Fisher during training camp, so we're able to, you know, get easy access to practices out here in Rochester. It's been very, very accommodating. But, you know, Malachi Dupree is a guy that, you know, a lot of people like going into this training camp, a guy that hasn't really stood out a ton to me. Had some first team reps early in training camp, and you know, since then, I mean, it hasn't really stood out a lot. Cam Phillips has made a name for himself in this training camp, undrafted out of Virginia Tech. Really, really impressive camp so far. He's injured right now, so he's out of the mix. But if you go over to nyup.com right now, check out my observations today. You'll see that I talk a little bit about Robert Foster, another guy that people were excited about. He brings a lot of speed, went to Alabama, familiar with Brian Dable. He struggled quite a bit. Today was potentially his worst day of practice here on day 10. Dropped a couple balls. One went right through his hands. One bounced off his chest pad, intercepted. He's a guy that's just kind of, you know, struggled a bit. Ray McLeod, I see Ronald asking about him. I think Ray has his ups and downs. When he's good and he's on, he looks good. I mean, makes some plays, but again, similar to Foster, he has some drops. There's been a few times during camp where, you know, he's had some drops. He is being rotated around in the kick return game, punt return. Steve and Nick asked Brandon Reilly going to make the team. A guy that, you know, he's getting a lot of first team reps, and I think that, you know, once with the game start, we'll get a better idea for him, what he's able to do. But he was here last year, spent some time in the practice squad, has had a good camp, but nothing super, nothing stands out, you know, big time to me at this stage. Quarterback for this Thursday, there has not been, the team has not announced yet who they're going to go with the first team against the Panthers, but, you know, AJ McCarron, I think it was, who got the first reps with the first team, started camp. I would imagine McCarron ends up getting the start, but we'll see. Austin Prohl and Zay Jones. Zay Jones is not allowed to have any contact yet. He's wearing the red jersey, but I think there is, you know, he's behind Sean McDermott. He's come out and said that, you know, there's a lot of work to do when it comes to Zay Jones. You're going to get him up to speed, have him learn the offense, have him get the reps. You know, he's 9-10 days behind in, you know, team drill reps, so probably not going to really be able to gauge where he's at for another week or two. But he said that, you know, he feels confident. He spoke to the media yesterday for the first time this training camp, and he says he's, you know, he's grown up as a person. He's more mature. The time away has allowed him to see the game and learn the game on the sidelines while he's rehabbing. And so big expectations, but also at the same time, you know, the clock is ticking. You know, you bring Corey Coleman in, a guy to compete with Zay, another guy that can make plays. I think Larry says that he thinks Peterman will start this game. Very, very well could. And when I talked to Nate today, he talked about, you know, with Zay Jones, they came in together. They have a special bond, Peterman said. So that could be something to keep an eye on. Should Peterman, start to pull away in this quarterback battle, he's somebody that, has said that he has a close connection with Zay Jones, loves playing with him, thinks he has loads of potential, and so that could be a, connection there. Arturo asks, Lesean McCoy, how's he doing? Lesean McCoy, from a football perspective, same old, same old. I mean, the guy is just so impressive on the football field to see what he's able to do to, the cut with the ball, make guys miss. I mean, even just in these kind of 7-on-7 drill or, team drill when they're not allowed to, the defenders aren't allowed to hit or tackle, you really come away just really impressed with Lesean McCoy. I talked to a bunch of his teammates. I talked to his 5 running back mates in the backfield, and then 3 defenders, Tremaine Edmonds, Micah Hyde, and Jerry Hughes, about McCoy. And they all just raved about, how consistent he is and how it makes the defense better, because they're able to see what he brings to the table, the different looks and the different angles. And they basically said, I think it was Jerry Hughes who said, if you could tackle Lesean McCoy in the open field, then you can tackle anybody in this league. So he's not only benefiting the offense, getting ready for the season, and during the season practice, he helps the defense really prepare for the opposition's run game. Let's see, got a couple questions. Ross asks, is the offensive line getting better as a group? It's been pretty consistent for the most part, right? So on the left side, Vlad Dukas, Deion Dawkins; on the right, John Miller and Jordan Mills. John Miller got hurt in practice today. Came out for a while, and I think he popped back in. I'm not so sure about that because I was off talking, preparing to talk to Nate Peterman. But at the center position, it's been Ryan Groy, who had 3 straight days with the first team. Russell Bodine back today with the first team, so there's a little bit of competition there. But Nate Peterman raved about the offensive line today. He said that, with the turnover, with Richie Incognito and Eric Wood retiring, there was a lot of new guys, coming into place. And he said that, they've been opening up big holes in 9-and-7 drills for the running game, giving him time, and really credited that group for his success today even, which I thought was, something very noteworthy. Josh Allen, I talked a little bit about him before. He's been really good. I think, as a rookie, a guy coming in, getting his first looks, with the speed of the game, NFL players, getting used to playing with, skill guys around him on the offensive side, that is a significant jump up from where he was at Wyoming. I think he's taken it all in stride. He's had flashes. I think somebody said most practices you'll walk away having seen one just amazing play from Josh Allen, and his, the intangibles jump off the sheet at you when you watch him live. I mean, the guy can throw the ball downfield. Today he winged a pass to Ray McLeod that was, like I said, incomplete because of how hard he threw it, but he threw it almost Brett Favre style, like sidearm, and it was after a pump fake, and he quickly rocketed the arm back, slung it sidearm, and had the same velocity as any other throw that he has in the arsenal. So I think there's so much potential there, but I think we'll learn more as the games start progressing. Elijah Harris asks, do you think it's time to trade McCoy because of the off-field problems? That's a good question. Running backs, I wrote earlier, I think at the start, right before camp, running backs don't necessarily start to get better as they age, right? 30 years old, a lot of mileage on McCoy's body, but I will say, seeing him out there, we'll learn more from the games, but seeing him out there, he looks like the same old Lesean McCoy. I mean, he's a guy that he just, he's an outlet for all 3 of these quarterbacks. And let's be honest, having a guy like Lesean McCoy, if you want to compete in this division with the Patriots, with 3 young quarterbacks, whoever ends up winning the job, you're going to need that safety net, right? You're going to need that guy that, Peterman, Allen, McCarron can dump the ball off to Lesean McCoy, let him get in the open field and do what he does, make plays. I think that, Brandon Beane has proven to be, somebody that's not afraid to pull the trigger on a trade, so you never can rule it out. But I think, especially this season with so much youth and so much inexperience around the entire offense, I think having a veteran guy like McCoy, an offense, a guy that's had carried this run game for the last 3 years, you want him on the field. Arturo asks, overall defense, how do they look? Defense looks great. I mean, the defense pretty much gets the better of things on a daily basis out here, as you can expect. But you think about it, you know, one of the downfalls of this, or one of the you know, knocks on this defense last year was the lack of a pass rush. You had the secondary, which, you know, many experts have written is one of the more, you know, underappreciated units in the NFL. Maybe the best safety tandem in the league in Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde. Then you go out and you add, you know, a franchise middle linebacker in Tremaine Edmonds in the first round. You bring in a defensive tackle that has, you know, loads of experience playing with, you know, some of the best defenses of the last 5 years in Star Lotulelei. You got Kyle Williams back. You have his understudy in Harrison Phillips, who everybody here at camp is raving about. A guy with size, push, and just so much potential. And, you know, it could start like unlocking some other parts of your defense. You know, talk about a young linebacker like Matt Milano getting to play alongside of Tremaine Edmonds. Let's see what he's able to do. You talk about a Shaq Lawson, a former first-round pick, who I have written down here that I want to talk about. He's starting to emerge a bit as Trent Murphy, guy that the Bills signed in the offseason, who's struggling with a groin injury through camp so far, about halfway through camp. Shaq Lawson, plenty of opportunity for a guy who knows that this is his time to shine. This is his time to prove that he can play at the NFL level, and I think that he's starting to do that. I mean, again, there's only so much you can learn from practice, but I think that the defense, so much potential. The one question mark you have, though, with a defense like this, when there's, you know, you have an inexperienced, probably inexperienced quarterback, some changeover on the offensive line, and then kind of lack of depth at the receiver position, is how long is that defense going to be on the field? How much of the load are they going to have to carry for this team to win games, and as the season progresses, and a very, very tough schedule opening the season? You wonder, will that defense hold up, and will they be able to do enough consistently? And how much will the offense produce? So many questions, so many talking about points, but talked about Harrison Phillips. Ramiro says they predict us having a 2-14 season. What's your opinion? I really, you know, it's tough. I think I was somewhere around like 6 or 7 wins, you know, going into training camp. And I think that, you know, with this tough schedule, it's hard to predict much more than that. But this defense is stacked. I mean, this defense is going to be really, really good. And you throw in there, and it's going to come down to, what are you going to get out of that quarterback position? What is that quarterback getting out of this receiver group that's, you know, a little bit maligned, a group that, you know, people are calling one of the weaker wide receiving groups in the league. What are you going to get? That's so important. What are you going to get out of that quarterback position? So I think that, you know, Josh Allen, so much potential if he is able to somehow win the job, or even comes in later in the season. I could see, you know, taking some lumps, you know, being in a lot of games. I think that's an important note. I think this team is going to be in a lot of games. You know what I mean? This defense is going to give them a chance to play, to compete. It's going to be about, can they make enough plays on offense to win tight games? And they did that last year, enough to get into the playoffs. But they're going to have a whole new, you know, whole new situation this season. The Coleman trade, I think it's a win-win. I think, you know, I talked about it a little bit earlier on, but I think that all you give up is a 7th-round pick. What you get back is a guy with a load of potential, right? And that's, you know, all these young receivers that are coming out, all these young running backs, young cornerbacks, young safeties, wherever position you're looking at, it's about potential. You get them into your system, you believe in them. Brandon Beane talked a little bit today about the fact that he scouted Corey Coleman a great deal when he was coming out of Baylor into the NFL, and had a private workout with him, was impressed with a lot of the things that, you know, he brought to the table. And Brandon Beane, Sean McDermott, they talk a lot about, you know, they want to bring in their kind of guys. They want to bring in their, you know, guys that come in here and, you know, good football players, but good character guys. So they must see something in Corey Coleman to take a chance on him, and, you know, see if he can, you know, become, kind of live up to some of that potential that he had as a 1st-round pick with the Browns. Let's see anything else here. And I'll wrap it up with this. Chris Ivory, I spoke to him early last week. Really impressed with him. I think he brings a very good veteran experience to the team, to the backfield, and to that offense as a whole. I mean, you talk about some inexperience at the quarterback and receiver position. The running backs have loads of experience. You're talking about, I think I wrote between 4 of them, Taiwan, Jones, Traveris Cadet, Ivory, and McCoy. You're looking at like 30 years of NFL experience, and I think that the Ivory brings that, you know, punishing physical style to a backfield, you know, with a bunch of speed and you know, athletic guys that like want to make you miss. Jones, Cadet, McCoy, all in that kind of same mold. He gives you a different look, which is going to be important, I think, for this team. Ramiro asked, are we in a better quarterback situation after trading Tyrod? 3 big question marks. Also picking Josh Allen over Josh Rosen and going up against the Jets and Sam Darnold. I don't know. Right now, I don't know if you're necessarily in a better quarterback position. Tyrod Taylor got this team to the playoffs last year. I know that there's a lot of knocks on him in terms of his, you know, the way he plays it safe, you know, plays the game kind of not to lose, wants to limit mistakes. But I think that you're in a better situation for the future because there's so much potential with a Josh Allen, a guy that can throw the ball downfield, a guy that has the arm strength, has the ability to evade, you know, the pass rush, step up in the pocket, get to the outside, throw on the run. So I think that, you know, you're looking at Tyrod Taylor as a guy that's always going to be around that 15 mark, you know, 15th best quarterback in the league, somewhere in that, you know, area. And, you know, there's been comparisons to Ben Roethlisberger for Josh Allen, who's been a top 5 quarterback his whole career in the NFL. So I think the future is bright. It just depends on how, you know, how quickly he's able to get into that position, get into the job, get comfortable, and then we'll get to see that. Guys, thank you so much for joining me. Tons of questions today. This was really fun. Head over to nyup.com. We got some observations. Had a Q&A today with Nate Peterman. Have some coverage from the Corey Coleman trade. And we're going to have much more. Tomorrow is the last day of practice. Off day Wednesday, and then the game is Thursday night. Carolina Panthers, first preseason game of the year. And keep it locked on NewYorkUpstate.com, Syracuse.com for all your coverage. We'll have a ton of stuff for you guys in the next couple days leading up to the game. Thank you so much for joining me.